You know, when you see a company in the news, we always hear about its profits or maybe its stock price. But honestly, that's just scratching the surface. So today, we're going to dive into the tools that pros use to see a company's true financial health, financial ratios. So, how do you actually look past all those flashy headlines and see what's really going on inside a business? Can you tell if it's genuinely solid or, maybe just a few weeks away from disaster? Well, that's exactly the question we're going to answer. All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with a really simple way to think about these ratios. Then we'll cover the 5 vital signs of a company's health. From there, we're going to zero in on the short-term survival test, learn how to read the results, and finally, talk about why context is absolutely everything. Okay, so I want you to think of financial ratios like this. It's a complete medical checkup for a company. A single number like profit can be totally misleading. We need a much broader view to get a real diagnosis of its health. I mean, this says it all, right? A doctor would never, ever judge your health based on just your height. They run a whole bunch of tests. And it's the exact same idea here. A financial analyst uses a whole set of different ratios to get the full picture of a company's condition. So what are these tests exactly? Well, they basically fall into 5 big categories, which you can think of as the 5 vital signs of business health. This is the stuff that's inside the analyst's toolkit. And here they are. You've got activity ratios, which look at how efficient a company is. Then liquidity, which is all about short-term survival. And solvency, which is about long-term stability. Profitability is, well, pretty obvious. And valuation ratios help figure out what a company's worth. Each one tells a critical piece of the story. But for today, we're going to focus on what I think is the most urgent one, liquidity. Okay, let's zoom right in on liquidity. Seriously, think of this as the emergency room test. It answers the most immediate life or death question a company faces. Can it actually survive the next few weeks or months? Yeah, this visual pretty much nails it. Liquidity is all about having cash ready to go. It's about a company's ability to pay the bills that are coming due right now. It's immediate financial demands. So the bottom line is this. Liquidity ratios tell us if a company has enough cash or stuff it can turn into cash really fast to cover its immediate debts. We're talking about things like payroll, paying suppliers, rent, all the bills due within a year. Okay, so we've ordered the test. Now it's time to get the results back from the lab. We're going to look at 3 key liquidity ratios that will help us decode a company's short-term financial health. First up, we've got the big one, the most common ratio out there, the current ratio. Its job is super simple, to see if a company's short-term assets are bigger than its short-term debts. And the formula? It's about as simple as it gets. You just take everything the company owns that it can turn into cash within a year, that's its current assets, and you divide it by everything it owes in that same year, its current liabilities. So how do you read this thing? Super easy. If the ratio is over 1, it suggests the company has more current assets than it has current liabilities. So, in theory, it should have enough firepower on hand to pay all its upcoming bills. If that number is below 1, that could be a major red flag. Okay, next up is a much tougher, more skeptical test. This is the quick ratio, and some people call it the acid test ratio for a good reason. It asks a much harder question. What if you can't sell your inventory? It actually pulls inventory out of the equation, because let's be real, it's not always easy to turn a warehouse full of stuff into cash overnight. And you can see the difference right in the formula. We're only counting the assets that are basically as good as cash. Actual cash, investments you can sell today, and money that customers owe you. We're totally ignoring all those boxes of product sitting in the warehouse. All right, now for what might be my favorite one, the defensive interval ratio. This is the ultimate what-if scenario. It literally calculates how many days a company could survive paying all its bills if, boom, all its revenue just stopped cold. And this idea of a financial runway is the perfect way to picture it. How long can this company's plane keep flying before it runs out of fuel? This ratio tells you exactly that, in days, using only the liquid cash it has on hand right now. So, what does a result of, say, 50 actually mean? It means this company can pay its daily operating expenses for 50 days straight with 0 new money coming in the door. Now that is the powerful piece of information to have. Okay, but listen up, because this is probably the most important part of the whole checkup. We have the numbers, right? But a number all by itself doesn't give us the diagnosis. To really, truly understand what these numbers mean, we need context. This quote right here, This is everything. Think about it. A software company that has almost no physical inventory is going to look completely different from a giant car manufacturer. You just can't compare them side by side. What's perfectly healthy for one could be a massive danger sign for the other. And it's not just about industry. Size matters too, a lot. A huge company that's traded on the stock market can usually raise cash way more easily than a small business can. Because of that, bigger companies can often get by with a smaller safety net of cash, while a smaller company might need a much larger cash buffer just to be safe. All right, so let's wrap this up. What are the big things to remember? First, financial ratios are a health checkup for a business, simple as that. Second, liquidity ratios are all about short-term survival. The current and quick ratios are your instant indicators. But, and this is the big one, never ever forget that a single number isn't a diagnosis. Context is king. Look, the idea here wasn't to turn you into a Wall Street analyst overnight. It was to give you the tools and the right mindset to look past a simple headline or a profit number and start asking much deeper, smarter questions about the real health of any business you're looking at. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know the basics of how to run a financial checkup, you can actually start putting it to use. So, which company's health are you going to check first?